What's going on, guys? Hey, look, I just wanted to take a moment to chime in on this whole Jeff Grubb thing. I know I'm a little bit late, but on these types of subjects, I kind of do that on purpose. For example, after Jeff Grubb made his comments about Hi-Fi Rush and Game Pass in general, he made a couple of comments on that. I wanted to wait and see what happened. And, Aaron Greenberg came out and made a comment. And these are the kind of things, or these are the reasons why when something like this happens and everybody is talking about it, yeah, I could take advantage of the algorithm and I could, comment on it right away. But sometimes it kind of pays to wait on the story to complete itself. So from the time that he made that comment, which I was actually watching it live when he said it, okay, Aaron Greenberg, since that time, has come out and made his comment. And then Jeff Grubb has come out and made some very interesting comments that really seem to equal backpedaling. In fact, I can go ahead and tell you that he is backpedaling. Now, I want to make it clear. I like Jeff Grubb. I have nothing. I'm subscribed to his channel. I followed Jeff Grubb for years. And I still have high respect for him. I understand that when you're in the type of job that he's in fact, whenever you're talking about these subjects and you have a microphone that goes out and it broadcasts, your voice broadcasts to other people, a lot of times when you're in the business of talking, eventually you're going to end up saying something that is wrong. And there's nothing wrong with that. By the way, if you're one of these people who, you're into people worshiping and you like Jeff Grubb, so in a way, like I like Jeff Grubb in a normal way. But if you're one of these people, you're into people worshiping and you think that certain people shouldn't be questioned. And if you question them, then that automatically means you're also insulting them. Then you might want to look at another video because, I'm not into that. I believe everyone should be questioned. I don't care if they sit on top of the highest mountain on a golden throne. They can be questioned. That includes me, my mother, my father, your father, your uncles, your aunts, your sisters, everybody, the president, anybody, a king, queen, whoever. They can be questioned. Okay. Anyway, that said, also, let me go ahead and get something out there about Game Pass, because this is mostly going to be about what he was saying. I'll give you my thoughts on Game Pass. Look, if you hate Game Pass, I'm so sorry, because Game Pass is going to always be around more than likely. With Game Pass, the only question is when should games go into a gaming service? Should they go day one? Should they go a little bit afterwards? That's the only question about Game Pass is going to be around. One day they might come out and say, hey, look, we found that it would be better if instead of putting our games into Game Pass on day one, we're going to go ahead and we're going to wait a couple of weeks, or we're going to wait a month or 2 months or whatever. Because look, let's be honest, man. A lot of people who play games aren't patient. If they want to play a game, they have to buy it right away. A lot of people can't even wait on reviews. I've advocated for quite some time that, look, at least wait for the reviews to come out. And then, even after you watch all of your YouTubers like your Matty Plays and all of that review it, because sometimes he gets it wrong. The last thing you need to check is what gamers are saying, and there are different platforms in which you can do that. Just wait for that, but a lot of gamers, man, they buy these games like they think that if they don't buy it by lunch day, like it's going to run out or something. Look, if you're buying games, if you're buying games online, they're going to be there. They're not going to run out. In the future, maybe, I don't know. They may decide to wait a month or two before they put the game in Game Pass and go ahead and make whatever they can make off of it within that month or two. And because there are a lot of gamers out there who simply cannot wait to play a game. They have to have it, especially if it's a highly anticipated game. But Game Pass, one way or another, is always going to be around probably, especially after this ABK deal, because it certainly looks like it's going to pass. And all of these games start getting dumped into Game Pass, it's only going to increase its value. So, it's going to be around. So you might as well get over Game Pass if you're somebody walking around here all consumed with Game Pass and hoping that it'll just go away one day, because it probably isn't. But anyway, let's go ahead and look at what Jeff Grubb. We're going to start out with his, I don't know, I guess I could call it his backtrack video, because like I said, to me, it sounds like some backtracking, and I'm going to show you exactly why I say that. And he kind of makes what I believe was a mistake. I kind of don't think he realized what he was doing, but he kind of set himself up for even more controversy. Not saying that he made a hand gesture, but anyway, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. But I think this was an error on his part. And considering the fact that he was making this video about how people took something he said and ran away with it, I found it kind of odd that he did something else with a hand gesture that somebody else could have took and ran with it. But let's go ahead and take a look at this. Oh, and by the way, before we get started, we're not going to look at the entire video, of course. I mean, I think it's a 10-minute long video, a little over 10 minutes. So, and plus, I'm sure that most of you have seen it. We're just going to take a look at a couple of things he said that caught my attention.
I'm Jeff Grubb. I'm over at Giant Bomb. I also do a podcast on Thursdays called Game Master Decides, where me and Mike Minotti talk about the industry. We had a pretty big conversation on Thursday night on our last episode about Xbox, trying to diagnose what's going on over there in terms of what do they care about, what are the issues, what's the future, all those things. And that led us to kind of try to get into specific conversations about specific games and whether or not they are generating the revenue necessary. And what does that even mean at an Xbox that has cared about Game Pass for a very long time? Well, I noted that Hi-Fi Rush did not make the money it needed to make. That was a mistake. I should have said that Hi-Fi Rush was, cost this much and it made this much.
Okay, this is something that caught my attention here because he's saying in the video that he really doesn't know, the situation with Hi-Fi Rush and Xbox. But right here, this top hand, and you heard him say it, the top hand is supposed to represent how much money they spent to develop the game, and the bottom hand is supposed to represent how much they made. This is a clear indication of a loss. This is a loss of money. If the top hand is what they spent, but the bottom hand is what they made, basically the message here is that if you're to take him literally, that Hi-Fi Rush lost money. But like I said, it's very well possible, and I want to believe that he's really not thinking about what he's saying when he's doing this. But if I remember correctly in this video, like I said, we're not going to look at the whole thing. He actually made this hand gesture twice. But anyway, let's go forward.
I should have said it like that. And because I don't know what it needed to do. I'll try to be clear about that sense, trying to clear things up, which is why I'm actually grateful that on Friday, after what I said became, a top story on Reddit, r/games and all that, and was trending on Twitter, Aaron Greenberg from Xbox came out and addressed this. He posted a tweet that basically just said, hey, the game did great in all the key metrics that we measure and all expectations, and we're happy with Tango Gameworks and Hi-Fi Rush. I'm glad they did that because the story was becoming based on what I said, but I didn't say this, but the story became Hi-Fi Rush was a flop, a failure.
Okay, I'm just going to say this and then we're going to move on. If it didn't make any money, if it lost money, it was a flop and a failure. But let's move on.
And that's just not what I was going for at all.
Big management is happy with the state of Xbox right now.
I can tell you they are not. They just aren't.
They're upset.
That's not what I was trying to say. I don't know what would have made that game a success in Microsoft's eyes. They're saying it is just without caveat. And I think it's clear that it was never going to be a traditional sort of measurement stick for that game because they did something new in terms of how they released it. They put it out as a shadow drop right after one of their shows where they didn't tease it at all. It was a complete surprise.
Also, you have to remember one other thing about Hi-Fi Rush. There were no physical sales. All the sales were digital.
And I think that puts it in a category where it's a bit of an experiment and they were trying to see what it can do. And at the end, the game got a ton of buzz. It got a ton of critical acclaim and a lot of fans talking about it. And it serves as this sort of platform that Tango Gameworks can jump off in the future to make something new again or make a follow-up. And I think that's why I'm glad that Aaron came out and said what he said, because Microsoft is happy with Tango Gameworks. I think that's clear.
Big management is happy with the state of Xbox right now.
I can tell you they are not. They just aren't.
They're upset.
We could see that from the way that they are investing in the studio. They're doing more with them. So, man, that's where it got weird for me, because I feel terrible when things like this happen. I said something that it was kind of mostly off the cuff on the podcast. Not even really. We were just having a larger conversation, and I was trying to get to here's what I know, and here's some things that we can figure out. And people take the tiny little detail and blow it up. And I feel terrible because yeah, I'm not sorry for necessarily like doing my job, but I do feel bad when I make like a tiny when I misspeak tiny in a tiny way, and then the next morning I wake up and there's a bunch of headlines that kind of really run with that narrative.
And you know what? I believe this sincerely. I believe that everything that he just said, he really means it. I don't think that Jeff Grubb is the type of person who would do something to harm anybody, especially any entities in the industry with malicious intent. He didn't get the reputation that he has from being an a-hole.
What were we really trying to figure out? What were we really discussing with all this? It's just that Hi-Fi Rush, yes, cost this much, and it made this much.
So, you know, after he did this the second time, I was wondering, like, is this Jeff Grubb's way of trying to stick to his guns? Like, I'm going to go ahead and throw this apology out here so I can take some of the heat off of me. But at the same time, I'm going to throw these signs out that indicate that I still believe that Hi-Fi Rush lost money. So in other words, I'm not totally buckling, you know, but you know, everybody won't notice this, but maybe enough people will notice it. Well, you know, they'll pick up on it. They'll see my hand gestures and say, oh, okay, he's saying that he just apologized like the way that he delivered the message, but he's still sticking to his guns that it lost money. But at the same time, earlier in the video, he says that, oh, no, I didn't mean that at all. Xbox is totally happy with the game. They're totally happy with Tango Gameworks. So it's kind of mixed messaging here. But these are hand gestures. And like I said, it's possible that maybe he's just not thinking about what he's saying. But if you look at his face when he's making these hand gestures, especially this second one, he kind of thought about it for a second. And he took that hand that represents the loss. And he kind of thought about it for a second, and then after he thought about it, he went on and put it right up under the top hand, which represents the amount of money that they spent to make the game. You know, I don't know, man, but we'll never know what's in his head. We're not mind readers. But look, guys, we're going to go ahead and leave it right there. I've already spent too much time on this video. This is a long video for me, and I normally don't get rewarded for these videos anymore. So I just put out videos when I really want to say something. So the reward is already built in, no matter how many views I get or whatever. But anyway, guys, if you want to discuss it down in the comment section, that is if YouTube allows people to see the video, just be courteous, man. Don't be an a-hole. You know, don't be a child, you know, here. I hate that. That's the only time when I really start thinking about, I'm not big on censoring, but if someone just comes out and kind of like just drop something really stupid down in the comment section, man, I have to get rid of it because, you know, I'm an older cat and I really don't have enough. I don't have patience. I don't want to say enough because really childish behavior from adults, it doesn't deserve any patience. So I don't have any patience for it at all whatsoever. So if you just come down and just say something like totally stupid, yeah, your comment might get deleted. You might get deleted. You know, I might have to go all censorship on your ass. But anyway, guys, if you like the video, give it a like. And if you get some time, give it a share as well. And go ahead and subscribe to the channel. But anyway, guys, take it easy and enjoy the rest of your day.